Hi, I'm Lori Brown. Thank you for seeking out Pondercast and pressing play. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You make Pondercast happen. This content is powered solely by our listeners, by small monthly donations through the Patreon platform. And you can find out more if you go to patreon.com/Pondercast. Consider making a monthly donation, or if a one-time donation feels better to you, go to pondercast.ca and you'll find a spot for that there, along with our kick-ass merchandise. Okay, you know who we are, how we work, what we're asking. Now let's get creative. Let's Pondercast. I can't remember where I read this line, but it stuck with me. The writer was saying, we all need to hold on to some mystery, both for ourselves and for other people. It's funny that we can feel that, particularly about other people, but we rarely use the word mystery. Instead, we call them complicated, confusing. We label behavior we don't understand as nuts. We get exasperated and turn on our heels and walk away. We only seem to relate to the idea that we are mysterious when we are attracted to someone new. They are intriguing, you are fascinated, and you are drawn in. You want to know more. You want to get close to their mystery. What is behind that Mona Lisa smile? But soon enough, we tire of mystery and start making assumptions instead, wanting to wrap up the investigation, deliver a diagnosis, put people in a box, and pin them down with a final judgment. When the intrigue peters out, when we run out of curiosity and generosity, the people in our life lose some of that magic that first drew us to them. Oh, it's still there. I think we've just stopped looking. I think. I know that all the truly sublime things in life are always a mystery. Love, art, beauty, life, the freaking universe. To ponder something of such depth, to realize there is no absolute knowing, makes these lifetime pursuits, and we stay in the mystery. But when it comes to each other, we tire so quickly. We settle on conclusions and judgments and frequently move on. Whatever we humans make obvious and apparent eventually dies for us. But we are all mysterious, both to ourselves and to the people we love, if you are willing to look closely enough. Perhaps we should be building mysteries for each other instead of trying to solve them. Here's another kind of mystery. A Nancy Drew meets Pondercast kind of mystery. One where the facts are not important and nothing gets solved. So I present to you the case of the missing garden shoe. In the beginning, there were two. They sat at the back door, old runners turned into slip-ons from a growing season's worth of trips to the garden, never stopping to put my feet all the way in. The backs were permanently flattened. Sure, they were neglected, abused, living outside all summer long, by the back door, like a cat facing inwards, waiting to be let in. But I never thought one of them would run away. Wright had left. Morning coffee in hand, I scanned the garden. Had it been dragged away by an animal? Was it ripe enough from months of soggy trips out back to warrant a good chew? Nowhere to be found. I turned back to the porch to quiz the left. How must she be feeling? Hobbled, if not paralyzed? I put her on top of the porch railing. Maybe they might see each other from there, call to each other in their matching tongues. Is Wright just lost? Taken against his will? Forced into servitude by another master, one with teeth and claws? What would they do with one shoe? A baby stroller for rats, a camping trailer for garden moles, a shopping cart for squirrels as they roam the aisles of the vegetable garden, stopping to feel the tomatoes before making their choice, and then dragging poor Wright into the bushes and bellying up to the shoe bar for lunch. Or maybe Wright was more of a traveling shoe man. Not content with the backyard life, he longed for the open road, to feel pavement under him, open sky above. In his past, Wright saw plenty of road, hundreds of kilometers of moving landscape, 3 runs a week, through woods and up hills and into valleys, along roads full of surprises. Roadkill, spectacular garbage finds, the sounds of birds, the wind in the trees, and passing conversations with friends and strangers. Big sky, rain, storms, he saw it all, and he drank it in like a thirsty adventurer. Come to think of it, Left was always the first one to turn back towards home. Maybe that's where his unhappiness started. Back inside the house, I dig into the hall closet, searching for a new pair of candidates for garden duty, wondering if Wright will be happy in the life he has chosen, living rough, content to be alone. Did he pause to think about what his leaving would mean to Left? Was Wright right to have left? Okay, I'm very proud of that last sentence. I don't think I'll ever get to use it again, but okay, onwards. Wright's pilgrimage of soul retrieval meant Left was a dead shoe walking to the garbage bin. He will have to live with that. But I get ahead of myself. I can't give up on Mr. Wright yet. He's out there somewhere. I owe it to Left to keep searching, if for nothing else, to give her closure, some remains to bury, if a dog hasn't done it already. The newly assigned garden shoes feel strange on my feet. They are horrified by the dirt, the way I casually step off the grass into the damp garden earth. I try to calm them with promises that this is temporary. They are still my favorite running shoes. This is just until Wright shows up again. But they saw Left as they passed the porch. Their 25 eyes met. They see the lay of the land. Garden duty is the last shoe stop, the end of the road. Run if you can. In this COVID summer, my walks are in different places. I wander through a mammoth Toronto cemetery with my camera. Always when the sun is low in the sky, that magic moment when the light is soft and sideways, shadows cast by tombstones stretch out longer than the people laid out under them. And all the names, so many family names, are words that we use elsewhere. They are words we use daily, very much living words. Walking among them, I piece together a cryptic message coming to me from the afterworld. Names like brash, loyal, Fairgrieve, good enough, pretty, little, darling. The names spelling out some kind of code pull me deeper into the cemetery, through the preferred singles section and into the single child section, where each tiny grave marker has its own shrine of weathered items. The rain-saturated teddy bear, the toy truck, the baby shoes, the glittering colored stones and rainbow unicorns, left by grieving parents, desperate at the thought of their child being left alone here with nothing to comfort them. I take pictures of all of it and piece together stories on who they are, what happened, and who is left behind. It's cool and quiet and packed with birds, squirrels, skunk, raccoon, possum, field mice, deer, and coyote. And someone, I notice, is feeding them all. Once I met her. Under the shade of the trees, I began to see apples left on top of headstones and handfuls of birdseed on ledger stones flushed to the ground. I followed the apples, and I stumbled into a scene from Bambi. There were 10 deer standing over maybe a dozen skunks, and over there under the pine tree was a whole mess of raccoons. Everyone was eating, while this woman, maybe 55, with shopping bags of food at her feet, had the deer eating out of her hand. I kept quiet and crept closer until I, too, was directly over the skunks, taking pictures of their amazing striped coats. Each one was so different. Our Lady of the Feast had names for all the animals, and she knew them. She told me, that one is blind, that one is the alpha male, and this deer is injured. And where are the coyotes tonight? They have 3 babies. They're usually here. I've never seen the woman again, or the coyotes, but I bump into deer regularly. But there is plenty of other life here in the cemetery. It is dotted with people. With their watering cans, they travel back and forth from the nearest water station. With their pruning shears and lawn chairs on a lovely summer evening, they are here. And as I get closer to them, taking pictures, perhaps of a headstone for a guy named Death, I've found a few of those, they watch me and they're curious. I make my way to them, and there is almost always a conversation. It starts with asking what I'm taking pictures of, and then comments about the beautiful evening. And then, more times than not, they tell me about the person they are missing, the person they are here to see. I hear stories of the 60-year marriage, of horrible last days, of last words spoken, I love you. I hear about loss and grief, and I see tears. They weed, they rearrange a candle, a lantern, plastic flowers, or they fuss over the real ones. But mostly they sit in their lawn chairs staring at the headstone, and they tell me about their marriages, their parents, their child, and I listen. I sense I'm hearing things that they need to say out loud. They need to say their loved one's name out loud, put it in the air again. And maybe they are telling me things they should have said more when they were alive. But all these conversations I wander into are so significant, real, and meaningful. All of them between two strangers. I leave the cemetery full and open-hearted once again. I have been dreaming about trailers, tiny trailers. Is this a COVID thing? The urge to get away in a completely self-sufficient way, to find a secret spot to set up undetected on the smallest bit of land by the ocean, to spend time facing the water, putting the world and the people in it behind me for a while. The trailer isn't much. A bed, a mini kitchen, a table and bench seat, and a tiny toilet and shower. Little cupboards, 3 pots, 1 pan, 2 glasses, 2 mugs, 2 plates, 2 bowls, everything in its place. Like the feeling you had when you were little, playing house, arranging your plates and cups and teapots, all still off-gassing in your makeshift home under the stairs. What was that exciting feeling all about? Playing with being an adult? Feeling independent? Or was it an early indication of anal tendencies? Or a life-crippling desire for perfection in all things? It certainly was an intense feeling. But now, as an adult, the tiny trailer dream feels like a refuge. How small does life have to get for you to feel some relief? You have your trailer. You have your 40 days and 40 nights. You have your secret location by the ocean. You are sitting outside, back against the trailer, breaking the wind, tending a fire, hearing only the rush of wind and waves crashing. You've been here a week now. You've read a lot, walked the beach, a collection of shells and bleached white bones building up by the trailer door. You slept great some nights and not at all on others. The high tide so loud you kept getting up to peer out the window, sure that the water was lapping against your wheels, that you had misjudged the power of the tides. That kind of time would have to change you somehow, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a kind of reset, hiding away until something cracks back open, or until something comes together again? What do you wish would come back to you? And what would you have float out to sea? Banish worry to the wind. Let the ocean waves lap at fear until it dissolves in salty tears. You sit wrapped in a blanket, hair sticky from the salt air, sand inside your socks, watching the horizon for bits of your returning self.